The Rookie of the Year race, Ha-Seong Kim, the bullpen. This is the lost season, but there are so many intriguing storylines to watch in the final month of the regular season. I'll tell you about all those on today's episode of Locked On Braves, so let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Jake Mastroianni. You can follow me on social media at shortstopball. Check out the podcast there at LockedOn_Braves on X, Locked On Braves on Instagram. If you're new and you're watching this on YouTube, please do me a huge favor. Stop real quick, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, and leave me a comment down below, as it does help out the show a ton on YouTube and on the audio version as well, where we still get the majority of our listeners. You can help expand Locked On Braves too, just by leaving a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much for your continued support here at Locked On Braves. I know it's been a rough season, but I think it's going to be a very interesting final month and off season for the Atlanta Braves. We've already seen that with the addition of Ha-Seong Kim. We'll talk about that and more on today's episode. What are the most intriguing storylines in the final month of the regular season, building up to what should be a very active offseason? It's what we're going to talk about today. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Now we are approaching the final month. We are in the final month of the regular season, and didn't go as how we expected this year. At this point, we were probably hoping we were going to be counting some magic numbers, looking for the Braves to clinch. Now we're counting magic numbers for when they're going to be eliminated. Definitely has not been the season that most of us anticipated, and certainly not what any of us were hoping for with the Atlanta Braves. All that said, though, there are still some very intriguing storylines and reasons to tune in. And I know college football season just started, NFL starting up this weekend. I got some comments. We'll talk about them later. Some people have already checked out, but I still think there's a ton of intrigue with this team in the final month and reasons to tune in. Now, selfishly, I want you to tune in because I want you to tune in here as well to hear me talk about it, and me and Lindsay on the postcast. But I know you're also Braves fans. You're going to ride it out. You've ridden it out with me this long. Why not just a little bit longer? So here's the most intriguing storylines and reasons to tune in the rest of the way for the Atlanta Braves. The first one is Drake Baldwin's Rookie of the Year chase. And this has been the most fascinating storyline of the second half. I talked about it when at the All-Star break, or the start of the second half, when I was giving you my top storylines for the second half. Drake Baldwin's Rookie of the Year chase was there then, and it still is, but now it's kind of there for a different reason, in that it is just, we all sit here and wait for the lineup card every day, and when Drake Baldwin's not in it, we all just become irate together. And it is becoming highly frustrating at this point. I look at the lineup card on Tuesday. Sean Murphy's been terrible lately. Marcell Ozuna's been awful lately. Drake Baldwin continues to mash, been one of your best hitters, and he's not in the lineup because he's facing a lefty who he has really good numbers against. I mean, I understood it when Marcell Ozuna was swinging a good bat, and you had to get him in there because he was just that hot, but that's not the case anymore. And I understood when Sean Murphy was swinging the bat well several months ago, but it hasn't been the case for a while. Drake Baldwin is one of your best bats. He is trying to battle for a Rookie of the Year award. Why is he not in there virtually every day? It makes absolutely no sense at this point. It is completely maddening, but that is the most intriguing storyline the rest of the way. Can he hold on? Can he win that Rookie of the Year? Can Brian Snitker just play him every single day and give him the best chance to do so? It's also become a very tight race. Last time we really talked about it, Jacob Misiorowski was overtaking Drake Baldwin with the best odds, but he's, fallen back, and the Brewers have kind of dialed him back a little bit. But now you have Isaac Collins, also of the Brewers, and you have Cade Horton of the Cubs, who the Braves will face on Wednesday, that are top contenders along with Baldwin. And Baldwin and Collins, I think, are the two favorites. They have nearly identical F4 numbers, nearly identical WRC plus. It's likely going to come down to who performs the best in September, which should be a lot of fun. And as I said last time we discussed the Rookie of the Year race, I think because Baldwin is a catcher, he's been there from beginning to end. I feel like that gives him the edge if it is tight, just because playing catcher is more demanding position with all of that entails, and still be able to put up one of the better offensive seasons for a rookie. I think that would give him the edge. So right now, with their numbers being so close, I do think Baldwin is the favorite at the moment. And on FanDuel, at least when I looked at it on Tuesday afternoon, Drake Baldwin was the favorite with Horton and Collins behind him, but it seems to be flip-flopping weekly. Somebody has a big game and it feels like they jump in front. So it feels like it's very close between those three, and it's going to come down to who has the better month of September. And with both Collins and Horton on teams that are in postseason, who are on postseason teams, those two are going to be in the spotlight a little bit more. So Drake Baldwin's really going to have to perform, but he has to be in the game in order to do so. Please start putting him in the game. So that's obviously the biggest storyline left the rest of the way. I think another one too is improving or hurting their odds for the top draft pick next year. If you don't know, tankathon.com/MLB, you want to go check out that website. It gives you the odds for the 2026 MLB draft lottery through a simulator, and they update it pretty much instantly. But right now it has the Braves with the third best odds to get the top pick. And while I know this team wants to continue to compete in the second half of the month, the schedule is pretty light. I would love to see them remain in that top five or bottom five, however you want to look at it, for the best chance to get, a top, obviously the top pick, but at least a top 3, top 5 pick. I think there's going to be some really good players available. A couple of shortstop. We've talked about Rock Chalowski and Justin LeBron. So I think if the Braves, can stay in that area, give themselves the best chance, obviously they're going to play to win. I don't think they're going to sit here and try to blow these games, but that's going to be interesting for us to watch. Keep in mind, the Rockies, Nats, and Angels can't pick higher than 10th this year, so don't really worry about their record or where their draft odds are. They can't pick in the top 10, so you can take them immediately out of it. That gives the Braves a little bit even better chance of being one of those top picks. So that's something to keep an eye on down the stretch. How did this Braves team do in the month of September? And we're going to take a look at the schedule here later on. The other big storyline is one that just got added, and that is Ha-Seong Kim. And look, it may not even really matter what he does in September. He might just be your shortstop in 2026, no matter what, no matter how he looks. But just as a fan, and yes, I've watched him a lot in the past when he was with the Padres, but I want to see what he looks like now. I want to see what he looks like post-surgery, post-shoulder surgery, all these injuries he's dealt with. And this might not even be the best true version of Ha-Seong Kim. It may be just a lost season for him with all these injuries. And I think that's kind of what the Braves are hoping, that you give him a full offseason to rest, recover, come back in next year. And that's when we see more of the Ha-Seong Kim that we've seen in the past. But I'm more so going to be watching defensively, and just, as I'm recording this and watching the game on Tuesday night, not stellar out there defensively so far. We know he's been a Gold Glover in the past, but I'm really more so watching for the arm. With that shoulder injury, what does the arm look like? It's obviously a pretty scary injury for pitchers, anything with the shoulder, but that carries over for position players as well. I know, not comparing apples to apples here, but for me, in my experience, I had a significant shoulder injury my senior year in high school and tore my labrum and could never really play defensively the same. It took away my dives. It took away a little bit of my arm strength, and I was just never the same. So that's what I'm curious to see with Ha-Seong Kim, is what does he look like post injury? I really want to look at him defensively, and hopefully we'll see him come around with the bat a little bit. Also watching for the bullpen. For me, it's open audition down the stretch here for everyone. Obviously, Dylan Dodd, Hayden Harris, who finally gets called up. We'll talk more about that later. Daysville, when he gets back up here, want to see what he can do. Even Iggy, I know he's been great here in the second half, but want him to continue to see that and show that. Love to see him get more confidence in that slider again for the Braves, consider whether or not to bring him back. Even Pierce Johnson, Dylan Lee, who have had some ups and downs in the second half. How did they finish? Kinley, who's looked great since being acquired, and Munoz, who we've seen here on Tuesday night and looked really good. The Braves need an answer. How many legit bullpen arms do they have to go get this offseason? And a lot of that's going to depend on how some of these guys look down the stretch in this final month of the season. Joey Wentz, who we saw on Tuesday night, I think it's a big final month for him too. Can he be a reliable 4th or 5th starter? Can he give you 5 to 6 innings and keep your team in the game. He's done that in 4 of the past 7 outings now, including Tuesdays. So feels like he's on a little bit of decline and maybe on the outs, but we'll see how he finishes. And then Hurston Waldrep, and honestly, just excited to watch him pitch. I mean, he's one of the more exciting players for the Braves right now. So definitely a reason to tune in. But if he keeps this up, how do you keep him out of the rotation next year? Does it keep the Braves from making another big move for the rotation this offseason if they feel like Hurston Waldrep is that guy? How far do they let him go? Can he improve even more? So a lot of intrigue there with Hurston Waldrep down the stretch. Really both rookies, Waldrep and Drake Baldwin. All right, next I want to get into some of your comments. What are you watching down the stretch? Are you watching down the stretch? We'll also talk about the schedule for September, and then we'll get into Hayden Harris, Roldy Munoz, and Tuesday's game. We'll do all that here next. Hey, Locked On Braves fans, are you still paying for full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already need. And the gas, you get the cash. Buy the gas, get the cash. You already are buying it anyway. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, right? It sounds totally too good, but it's legit. I promise it is. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited promo code SEASON for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live and your time is running out. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. You got queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included. So the price you see is the price you pay. The app is made it super simple. You could even see the exact view from your seat before buying. I love that. Exactly, especially if you're going to some of these older stadiums like Wrigley and Fenway. You want to make sure your view is not obstructed. Fees are included. You know your exact total up front. No surprises when you get to the checkout screen. And also love the zone deals. They pick you pick the section, and Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets before. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKED. OMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Thank you as always. Making Locked On Braves your first listen of each and every day. Go check out Locked On MLB for your second listen of the day. Solely getting caught up with all the action happening around Major League Baseball and the guys from MLB Game Night. Catching up with the biggest highlights from each and every game, each and every night. Well, I want to get to some of the listener comments. I asked you, what are you watching down the stretch? Got some good ones. Got some similar to what I had as well. Got some funny ones in here too. Anna Hutstetler says the tryouts for open spots next season starts tonight with Kim. And I agree with that. I think a lot of these guys are playing for their spot on this roster next year. Bald and Beard says the Falcons. So Bald and Beard has checked out at this point. Dr. MJF says Waldrep getting more starts and Strider getting better. I didn't mention Strider, but while I do think this is just the rest of the way is just a tune-up, I'm not going to put too much into the results for Strider the rest of the way. I do think it is important for him to continue to try to tinker with this and figure things out going into the next season, hopefully setting him up for a great 2026. Chip Hendricks says our new shortstop and Kim. Brian McVeigh saying Snitker announcing he will return for one more season and the ensuing chaos on this app. That's going to be that podcast is going to do numbers. I can definitely guarantee you that if Brian Snitker announces that he's going to be back soon, that podcast will do numbers. Either way, I think it'll do numbers. That is something I didn't mention too. I would be a little surprised if we don't get some sort of announcement on Brian Snitker before the end of this season. we'll see what happens the rest of the way, obviously, but I'd be a little surprised. You got that 6-game homestand to end it. I wouldn't be surprised that maybe around there we get an official announcement that Snitker is going to step down, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, if he decides to come back for one more year, yeah, that would be really, really interesting. And you're right, X would completely blow up if that happened. Big Dog Fan 73, can Hurston Waldrep continue to pitch like he has in the year with a spot tied up for next year? Can Drake Baldwin get hot enough to win Rookie of the Year and get that extra draft pick? I think those are definitely two of the more fun things to watch down the stretch. Russ also said Drake and Waldrep, but also seeing what Kim can offer over the last month. Dustin Mounts, if the team can stay healthy, if Harris and Ozzie can keep up the positive trends. Also, mainly Drake Baldwin, Hurston Waldrep, how they finish up. I think Harris and Ozzie, one I didn't mention either, but those two guys, can they finish strong going into the offseason and hopefully set them up for a good 2026? Trey Wheeler, now the shortstop and pitching guys getting called up. Baldwin wrap up Rookie of the Year. Every Acuna, Albies, and Olsen at bat. Yeah, I mean, I know Acuna's going through it right now, but he's just one big swing away from providing an electric moment. And Olsen, he's been solid all year, had a triple on Tuesday night. So those guys are always going to be fun to watch. Darren Coe says, if Ha-Seong Kim can produce, make me less sad for Nick Allen. Jamin Legger says, development of young guys, if Kim is a good fit, and if the Braves are a good fit for him. Harris and Baldwin, they're just exciting. How Acuna holds up, if Profar can continue what he's been doing. Those are some good ones, too. Mike says, honestly, just excited to get 2 games at Truist. Yeah, hopefully I can make it out to another game. I didn't get to go to much this year, so hopefully I can make it to another game before the season ends. Jason Watson says, Baldwin, Waldrep, Kim, Sell, and Hayden Harris. I think those are some good ones. Hunter says the season ending is what he's looking forward to watching here the rest of the way, and I definitely understand that sentiment. Shalmet Sam also said football, so another one. Moving on there, Drake Baldwin says Hurston Waldrep. So that's interesting. Drake Baldwin, think they'd be a Drake Baldwin fan, but they're excited to watch Hurston Waldrep down the stretch. And Jay says college football as well. So thank you so much for submitting those responses. I do think there is a lot of reason to watch the Braves in the month of September, despite where they are. And let's look at the schedule for the rest of the way. You're going to have 1 game left with the Cubs and then a 9-game homestand, which features the Mariners, Cubs, and Astros, all playoff teams right now. That's going to be a tough homestand, but a good test for some of these young Braves players looking to prove themselves. So that one should be fun to watch and a good chance for you to get back out to the ballpark one more time. And then there'll be their final road trip. They'll have 4 at Washington and then 3 at Detroit, and then 6 games at home to end the season, 3 against Washington and 3 against the Pirates. And you look at a team that's out of it. Do they even have a chance to play spoiler? Well, everything is pretty much wrapped up in the National League, and they don't play the Mets or the Reds the rest of the way. They could maybe knock the Cubs down from hosting in the wild card round with 1 game against them on a Wednesday and then 3 more next week. So they, if they were to go ham against the Cubs, they could potentially knock them down a little bit. The Mariners are the intriguing one right now as they're holding on to the final wild card spot. So, if the Braves were to sweep that series, that definitely would hurt their chances, but also playing the Astros and Mariners, it's still a tight race for the AL West. So the Braves could have some say in how the AL West race turns out. But also, and maybe more intriguing and certainly more important to Braves fans, is they get those games against the Nats. I mentioned the Nats can't get a top 10 pick, so those games won't matter quite as much. But you end the season against the Pirates, who right now are ahead of the Braves with the second best odds for the top overall pick. So could the last series of the year be a battle for the second best draft odds? I mean, what a sad season we're in right now. But that could ultimately come down to it. That last series of the year, if those two teams are as close in record as they are right now, it could be a battle for who gets the second best draft odds. So keep an eye on that one the rest of the way. All right, next we'll get into Tuesday's game. Joey Wentz's performance, Roldy Munoz, and the home runs that you had in this one. We'll get into all of that here next. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface. on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Do you have subscriptions that you forgot you were paying for? I linked all my accounts to Monarch and immediately spotted a few subscriptions I wasn't even using. I don't know what my wife is doing. Cancel those subscriptions right now and save more money each and every month. And it also helps with budgeting for a couple, for independent goals, etc. Monarch makes it simple to review my finances with my partner. We can both see budgets, goals, and spending activity in one place. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. The Atlanta Braves drop another one-run game to the Cubs, their 33rd one-run loss of the season. Another frustrating one for Braves fans, but you got to see the debuts of Roldy Munoz and Hayden Harris in this one, and both of them looked really good. Munoz, really good sinker, 97, 98, a lot of run on it. It's just always been about command for him, or control rather. Can you just throw enough strikes? A walk per nine, over 5 at the minor league level this year. Really the only thing that's holding him back from getting a look is he's been on the 40-man roster for a while, as they had to protect him from the Rule 5 draft. But I thought he was really impressive, and we'll see what he can do the rest of the way. Hopefully he gets plenty of looks, and this was a close game that you used him in, so somewhat of a higher leverage situation, but excited to see what he can do. And then Hayden Harris, we've been talking about it. He's put up ridiculous numbers all year long at Gwinnett, and 21 games at Gwinnett this year, a 0.36 ERA, a 0.67 whip, 101 batting average against, a 12.78 K per nine, and he was on a 14.2 innings pitched scoreless streak. Now, there is some reason to be skeptical. The four-seam fastball just 91 miles per hour, but as Lindsay talked about on one of his shows yesterday, it does have some good characteristics to it, which is why he's had so much success. A sweeper and a split as well, although it was just primarily four-seam fastballs. Now, amped up a little bit. We saw him with some 94s in there, which he can get to, but he also gave us some loud contact. Now, they went for outs, but again, probably some jitters in there, some nerves as well with him making his debut, but glad to see him get this opportunity. I've seen a lot of people say, my guy. Look, I'm not here to back, Hayden Harris and say that he's going to be the next Craig Kimbrell or anything like that. My point has just been, as it has been for many others, I think the guy's done everything he can do to at least deserve he had, or show that he deserves a chance. And so I'm glad that he's getting it, and I hope it works out for him. I hope he is the next Craig Kimbrell, but I'm not sitting here saying that's going to happen or that Hayden Harris is that guy. But I'm excited to see what he can do the rest of the way, and if he can be a part of this bullpen, and if what he's been able to do at the minor league level, you can't deny the results that he's had there. And if that were to continue, we were able to see this the rest of this month, that gives the Braves another option in the bullpen for next year, both he and Munoz. You saw Dylan Dodd in this one too. I think we've seen a good bit of Dylan Dodd at this point. Really not enough for me to say that he definitely needs to be a part of the bullpen going forward. But all three of those guys, this final month, as we talked about earlier, when the intrigue for the rest of the season, it's going to be some auditions for those guys. Maybe not to start the year next season, as those guys have some options left, but could the Braves count on them in the bullpen at some point next year? So can't wait to see what they do the rest of the way. As for Joey Wentz in this one, as he's another one that I was interested to watch the rest of this season. Not a great start, obviously, when you look at giving up the 4 runs, but it's also a start where he's maybe just one bad pitch away from this being a decent start. Now, too many deep counts, too many 2-strike counts, particularly in that third inning. There were almost 40 pitches in that third inning, which really just shortened his start, unable to get through the 5th inning. But 8 strikeouts. I mean, there was some really good stuff from Joey Wentz in this one. I argued with Lindsay on the postcast. To me, I watched that pitch. It's a slider. It's not a cutter. FanDuel's popping it up there as a cutter. I know Lindsay's going ham, talking about how good the cutter is and how everybody needs to throw a cutter. That's a slider to me, just based on the movement of that pitch. Whatever it is, it's been an effective pitch for him. But in that third inning in particular, he just couldn't put guys away with either that or the curveball. But I still think there's some value in Joey Wentz. And as we talked about on the postcast, maybe not in the rotation to begin next year, but maybe as that long man to give you some, multiple inning outings, and a guy that can, swing into a starting role if needed, if injuries are there. So I still think there's value in keeping Joey Wentz around, but definitely feels like it's been a rough go for him here as of late. And then offensively, I mean, honestly, he's on one of his hot streaks right now. That's always fun to see. Acuna back to the leadoff spot. Was hoping that would ignite him a little bit. He did have, 2 hard hit balls, one that I can't believe didn't get out, but it's a bit of a struggle for Acuna right now. Olsen with a stand-up triple, Ozuna with 2 hits. But look, and you follow me on social media, you know where I am on this, and I've talked about it on here as well. Drake Baldwin's got to play every day. I don't care who's on the mound, righty, lefty, Cy Young himself. Drake Baldwin needs to play every single day. Doesn't have to catch every day, and I agree. Murphy's the better defensive catcher, better calling games, better controlling the run game. But Drake Baldwin's got to be in this lineup every day, and it's just ridiculous. It's frustrating that he's not. And I know Ozuna got 2 hits today, and that means Ozuna probably bought Ozuna another 5 games of being in there. But Drake Baldwin's got to be in this lineup each and every day. It is so ridiculous that he keeps benching against lefties when he's better against lefties. Please, Brian Snitker, just look at the splits for one time. Just look at the splits. Drake Baldwin needs to be in there against lefties. He needs to be in there every day to give him the best opportunity to win the Rookie of the Year. And then Ha-Seong Kim in his debut, he picks up a couple of hits. You saw him beat out a ground ball in the 9th inning to keep the game alive. So love seeing that. A couple of hard hit balls in this one for him too. So a great debut for him. A little rough defensively, but not going to hold too much against him there. But really excited to see what he can do the rest of the way, as we talked about earlier. Now, some news from the day. Jurickson Profar goes on the paternity list, and you can see the conspiracy theorists out there mentioning that the performance-enhancing drug that he got popped for is actually a fertility drug, and here he is giving birth to a child, not him himself. So that's a little bit interesting there, but that's why Profar is gone right now. Hunter Stratton was optioned, and Wander Suero was DFA'd to make room for these players coming in. Eli White also homered on a Tuesday night. I mentioned the Albies homer too. So look at the night. You scored 3 runs on 8 hits, 1 walk, just 5 strikeouts, but only 1 for 2 with the runners in scoring position. Didn't get a lot of guys in scoring position. You had the 3 extra base hits. You had the triple, 2 homers. I mean, that feels like a game you should normally score more than 3 runs, but just weren't able to manufacture. Michael Harris getting picked off. I mean, Michael Harris, just somebody sit down with Michael Harris all offseason long and teach him how to steal bases, teach him how to run the bases. He's got to be better at that, but cost the Braves and out there. In Game 3, as the Braves try to avoid getting swept once again, they'll have Bryce Elder on the mound going up against Cade Horton. Horton, chance for the Braves to help Baldwin out, as Brian Snitker's not going to help him out. So the Braves might have to help him out themselves by taking down Cade Horton, who is in that Rookie of the Year race. And then Elder on a hot streak right now. Can it continue? Will he get blown up and everything come caving in on him? You never know when Bryce Elder takes them out. We'll find out together on a Wednesday. Me and Lindsay will be back to cover that one in the postcast after the game on a Wednesday night. I'll have 2 more episodes for you here the rest of this week, including our mailbag episode on Friday. It's another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside 2-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Hawley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Well, that would do it for this episode of Locked On Braves. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube if you're new, hit that thumbs up button, and leave me a comment down below. And make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast, and we will